Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us for Break for Health. I'm really glad you could be with us today. Today, we're going to talk about how to enjoy summer fun safely. We've received several questions from those of you who've registered, and I'm really excited to have a group of wonderful folks with us to help answer your questions. Nettie Carter Smith is our moderator. Alex Miller of Shiftology provides technical assistance, and I want to thank them for their support. My name is Joan Elder. I'm with Community Health Foundation, and we are really pleased to be able to host this series of events for you. If this is your first time in a Zoom webinar, I want to point out some of the features that might be new to you. So on the bottom of your screen, you'll see that there's a chat box. That box is disabled for attendees, but the panelists can use that to put some information in there for you. So if you'd like to keep that chat window open, you might see some information popping up there. In the center is a Q&A box. That is where you can enter any questions that come to you during the session today. The panelists can either answer it live as they see it come forward, or as Nettie introduces that question, or they might send you a private response typed into that chat box. And then on the right, there's a button that says CC. We have the live transcription turned on. If you prefer not to see that at the bottom of your screen, you can click on the live transcript and circle hide subtitle, and that will no longer be there for you. So I am really pleased to introduce to you Nettie Carter Smith. She will be then leading into introductions of our panelists. But first, I think we're going to start with a poll question. Is that right, Nettie?
That's right.
Get everybody limbered up and learning how to answer these polls.
Okay. Thanks, Joan.
Sure.
And again, welcome everybody for another conversation. We're so excited that you guys have decided to join us. And again, as Joan mentioned, this is summer fun, but we're also going to give some safety tips too. As I introduce each of our experts, we call them panelists, but I call them experts because they're the gurus of these topics. We're going to have them introduce themselves, and they're going to answer poll question number 1, which is, what is their favorite summertime treat? So let's just take maybe 5 more seconds, look at those results. Okay, favorite summertime treat. Looks like watermelon has it. And then number 2, everybody seems to, about half of the participants seem to play with the, water sprinkler. I'm not a swimmer, so I'm actually I'm a jump roper. So thanks everybody. Now let's take an opportunity to hear what our experts are saying. First, I'd like to introduce Basil and Claudia Fett.
Okay, so my name is Claudia Fett, and my favorite summertime treat is actually ice cream. And I am past president of Bike Springfield. I'm also on the Springfield Bicycle Advisory Board. And as the past president of Bike Greater Springfield, I would just like to let everyone know it's an advocacy group. And we meet the second Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. And you can find us on the Facebook page, Bike Greater Springfield.
And I am Basil Fett, and I've been riding bicycles since I was 12 years old, which, well, we don't need to talk about how long that's been, but it's been a long time. So other than that, I live here in South Fountain and work on an old home.
Great. Thank you. Ashley? You're muted. And she's showing off with her watermelon.
I know, right?
There you go.
Unmute. I'm good now. But yeah, I'm down here in Florida, and actually their watermelons are already ready. Up in Ohio, we don't get them until late July, August. We get really good watermelons. And I've had some really great ones down here in Florida. It's been awesome. And I'm with Springfield Vision Gardens. I love plants. I love everything to do with plants. I love growing my own food because it's the best way to know what you're eating. So, yeah.
Great, thanks. Adriel.
My favorite summertime treat, I chose popsicles, especially the homemade kind, make them with the kids with fresh fruit. Seems to be a hit in my house. And then I am a member of the Jefferson Street Oasis Community Garden. I love gardening, growing, sharing, and just pretty much helping to teach my community the benefits of eating what they grow themselves.
Thank you. Brad.
I'm Brad Boyer. I'm with the National Trail Parks and Recreation District. We serve Clark County residents with parks and recreation services. And my favorite summertime treat is watermelon on that list. So.
Okay. Great. Paul?
Hello, I'm Paul Waldsmith. I'm the CEO at the Champaign Family YMCA in Urbana. My favorite summertime treat is definitely watermelon. In fact, I'm also a part-time group exercise instructor at our Y. And next Tuesday's 9 o'clock class will conclude with lots of watermelon being served to the participants.
Okay. Did you get that watermelon from Florida from Ashley? Just kidding.
Probably been
I'm going to work on that.
Right. There you go. Cameron.
Hi, everyone. I'm Cameron Sloan. I'm with the Greater Springfield Partnership. Used to be named the Chamber of Commerce. So I do event planning with the Convention and Visitors Bureau and the partnership. And I also am connected to the farmers market. So you probably see me down there if you come down, which is currently going on. But yeah, my favorite treat was popsicles, easy. Like I would eat popsicles for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I know that's not healthy, but I 100% would. So, yep.
Great, thanks. And last from our experts, we'll hear from Larry Schaefer.
Hi, everybody. My name is Larry Schaefer. I'm the Director of Environmental Health for the Clark County Combined Health District. I've been with the health district for 17 years. My favorite summertime treat is absolutely watermelon. There's several gardeners with us today, and I used to be one myself. I wish I had more time to do that. And maybe some of you all can share your watermelon with me. So,
okay, great.
And I forgot to tell my favorite summertime thing, so I'm going to say mine's a hot dog.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like a grilled hot dog too. I'm with you. Okay, so Larry, let's just get right to it. Okay, so this time last year we were all masked up, and COVID, the pandemic had taken over, and we weren't sure if and when we were ever going to get back to that. So now, CDC, the guidelines have changed. We're taking masks off, and there's still some precautions. What are our current local guidelines?
well, so the message is, yes, the pandemic is winding down. COVID is now endemic. It's a part of our lives, just like many other communicable diseases. So what everybody should be doing is getting appropriate vaccinations, which includes COVID. We've wiped out several diseases in our country and in fact the world due to immunization. So they are very important. The other thing is we learned that keeping a little distance with our neighbors, it actually works. So when we are ill, we probably should watch out to protect others and stay home when we're ill. And of course, covering our mouths and our noses when we cough or sneeze, and washing our hands. These are all good things. Grandma was absolutely right. These things will help us to stay healthy. So.
Okay, great. So as we move into summer, and I know that we're getting back to normalcy, we can talk just a little bit about some of the summer events. Cameron, can you talk a little bit about what's going on in Springfield? What are some of the events that we can look forward to?
Yeah, so I would first direct people to a resource that we have on our website that local organizations and entities can put their events on, which is visitgreaterspringfield.com. So that's our visitor center calendar, and organizations can go in and you can find a lot of different events that are going on currently. But like I said, farmers market's happening right now, which I could talk about all day, but it runs June 5th through September 25th, every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. It is adjacent to the Heritage Center downtown. So if you're not familiar with downtown, if you find the big clock tower or the Marriott, it's going to be right there. So that's a great opportunity to get fresh local food, support local businesses. But then we also typically have cooking demos and different educational things going on as well. In case, like, if you're like me, I could prepare an eggplant, but I probably won't because I just am not used to it. So, having some demonstrations is kind of fun there. And you can also walk to a bunch of places downtown as well, restaurants and coffee, stuff like that. So there's that. First Fridays are a great thing to go to downtown, walk around. They're usually Friday evenings. First Friday of the month, obviously, from usually about 5 to 9. I recommend looking up some different places that are downtown, and they'll post on their Facebook page what they're doing. And another thing would be, I know Cars and Coffee is a free event that's going on, and Saturday mornings as well at the Hollenbeck Bailey parking lot. There's a lot of like old cars, unique cars, stuff like that. That's a free event. So, you can hop down there as well as just checking out, like I said, the calendar is a good resource, and usually just following a lot of places on Facebook, and then you've always got all the other things like fairgrounds, the parks, stuff like that.
Because I know that the fair will be back in session.
Yes.
It's a full fair. Yeah.
Yes. And I forget what the dates are exactly, but I would recommend people check out, I think it's clarkcountyag.com, and you can find some more information on the fairgrounds as well.
Great. If anyone knows that website, if you want to put it in the chat for our participants, that would be great. Thank you. Can you talk a little bit about the Summer Arts Festival and how that's going to be handled from a safety perspective? I know that's going to open up.
From what I understand, I think, and Larry, you can chime in, but I believe that it's just back to their normal, structure. I do know it's happening, and I'll put this in the chat as well, but the Springfield Arts Council website will have a link to all of the shows that are currently going on, and any regulations, but I believe it's back to normal as far as COVID stuff goes, but I'll drop that one in the thing as well.
Cameron, I believe you're absolutely right. It's back to normal, except I think there'll be hand sanitizer available. And I think, as I was talking earlier, we as citizens, as good community members, need to keep in mind that if we're sick, we should stay home. And so I think they're relying on the public to be mindful of others. So.
Right. Yeah, and I know that, again, this time last year, we were just talking about COVID and just how things were going to move forward. And as we look at that, obviously, I think Clark County's done a great job of getting people vaccinated, but then also there's a portion of the population that hasn't gotten vaccinated, and just mixing those two groups. Is there any suggestions or anything you could offer from that standpoint, Larry?
Well, so I'm glad you brought that up. We do have at least 48% of the 115,000 who are eligible to be vaccinated have at least gotten a first shot. So that's a step in the right direction. Yes. And keep in mind that there were, I'm sorry, the number eludes me. I think it was like 14,000 people that did have COVID in Clark County, mm-hmm. And so they all have some element of immunity, but so it goes back to being good citizens. When we have an illness, we need to stay home, stay away from other people. We need to wash our hands. We need to cover our mouths. we need to get appropriate immunizations. And I think as a community, we are on track for all of that. So,
Larry, I think the thing that has come to my mind, we had virtually no transmission of the common flu last year because we were all separated and had masks. And it's just a real good example of the fact that those things work if you do them.
that is absolutely right. And, you know, I think in the whole 8-county West Central Ohio area, there was only 6 hospitalizations for flu the entire flu season, which is amazing.
Yes.
And you're right. I think a lot of that has to do with the measures that we all participated in to protect each other. When I first heard that number, I thought, well, that just sounds crazy, but it was true. I verified it. So yeah, that's a very good point. And I think most people get 2 or 3 colds a year. And if you think back, I didn't get a single cold last winter. So these things really do work. And so, yeah, it's very promising.
That's good points. Now, I will say now that I've gotten, you know, now that the weather has started to change and I'm out more, you know, you see these little white things that are flying all through and so your allergies start to jump up, which is okay because we want to be outside. So let's talk a little bit about some of the parks and activities to do in Champaign County. Paul, can you talk a little bit about what's going on there and how we can come visit your neck of the woods?
Certainly, there is a great deal of activity taking place around Urbana and Champaign County. I'll start off with the Melvin Miller City Park, which Joan was a participant last weekend when we had our annual Healthy Kids Day and Park Fest celebration. That park has the Urbana Municipal Pool, which our Champaign Family YMCA does run, and runs rec sports leagues there as well. There are, I'm going to go through a whole list here because I don't want to take a half hour, and I could easily do that. There is a really interesting place in between the Urbana Airport and Freshwater Farms called Point North. And they're having an activity in mid-July on a Sunday to reintroduce people to this area. It has a number of blue springs, over 200 acres of great property and fishing opportunities that won't come this year, but will come in future years. There is a place that I love to drive to. Think about the name of this, Lonesome Road, out in the middle of Champaign County. Has the Davy Woods Nature Preserve. It's a fantastic place to walk if you want to commune with nature. Kaiser Lake State Park is located on the western side of the county. Freedom Grove is a walking area just outside the Champaign County building that was sponsored by Rotary. And Freedom Grove is a tremendous walking opportunity for people that also host Patriots Day activities on 9/11. Many of you have probably gone to Cedar Bog before, which is located on Woodburn Road on the south side of Champaign County. It's actually not a bog, it's a freshwater fen, and they have wooden planks for you to walk on there, so you're not going to be submerged up to your ankles. A place that is just on the northern perimeter of the Champaign County Airport is the Champaign Aviation Museum. It's an interesting place to visit. Ohio Caverns is a place that's open year-round on the northern part of Champaign County, fantastic cavern. And then I'll end with a place that most people have never heard of, but it's very interesting from a geological standpoint because it's a remnant of the last ice age. And that is the Siegenthaler Kester Esker, which is in the northern part of the county. So there's a great deal of information, and people can access the park information by going to the Champaign County Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau website.
Okay, great.
I would point out, and in addition to the Champaign Aviation Museum, there are 2 other aviation museums at the Champaign County Airport. One's the Grimes Laboratory Museum, and I can't remember, the other one escapes me, but that's pretty awesome that there's 3 spots in one location. So,
Paul, can you talk a little bit about like day camps for kids? How do we get involved? Do you offer those in Champaign County?
Oh, certainly. Thank you. The YMCA here in Urbana, the Champaign Family Y, offers 10 weeks of day camp every summer. We are currently in week 1 of day camp.
Okay.
RY actually offers 3 camps each week. One is a traditional camp where if the weather is permitting, they will go out to RY's 80-acre preserve, which we call Camp Schiffer, which is, if anyone knows where Mingo is, it's at a very remote location in the county, but a beautiful setting. And then we also have 2 specialty camps each week. These could be specialty camps ranging from cooking camps to outdoor adventure camps to aquatic camps. There's a number of themes each week. Individuals who are interested there can contact the Champaign Family YMCA. I also want to mention that we have 4 locations for Champaign County Libraries, Urbana, Mechanicsburg, St. Paris, and North Lewisburg, and they both have summer reading programs for children and adults.
Okay, great. Anything else you want to add about Champaign County? Now, you had mentioned the event that happens the middle of July. Do you have that date?
Yes. Give me a second to pull it up on my phone.
I love technology.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yes, that'll be July 18th, Sunday, July 18th from 2 to 5 p.m. It'll be an opportunity for individuals to come to Point North, which is right off of State Route, US Route 68, just north of the airport.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, well, let's just head south a little bit. We started north of 68. Let's head back down to Springfield. Brad, talk to us about what's happening in Clark County.
Yes, sure. Hey, Alex, can you put up that first slide for me, please? So National Trail maintains for the residents here 25 parks and nearly 13 miles of bike paths that are at your disposal to use all summer and throughout the year. We also have miles of natural hiking trail, and that's just what we have. There's other park agencies within the county that have other additional resources that are awesome and good to explore. We offer 16 playgrounds that are close by to a lot of neighborhoods, a fitness park that's free, that's outdoors and downtown, close to the old Springfield New Sun building. And we have Splashdown Water Park, which is now open and operating. The NTPRD Chiller is a great place to cool off and go skating, and open all year round. And hey, Alex, if you want to go to the next slide too. If we offer activities throughout the year too, but one good resource that you're going to want to get, and I'll put the link here in the chat, but we put out quarterly an activity guide that kind of lists all of our programs and activities for adults, youth, and families. There's programs that take place in the parks that we don't operate, like the Champion City Kings baseball, or the Springfield Arts Council's Summer Arts Festival that everybody is familiar with, but are iconic to the park system themselves. But we operate a lot of programs that happen daily and throughout the year. For example, for adults, we have a weekly hiking and walking and trail riding biking program that happens, and those are free. Information's in that guide. We also have for adults a camp no kids, so you can relive those summer camp experience that you had as a kid and come out on July 31st and sign up, and we have campfire and camp games, and you can leave your kids at home and come out and have some fun and have some relive those memories from when you were a kid. But other examples of adult programs that we offer is a Yappy Hour, which is just at Snyder Park, where we have some music, and you can grab a drink, and food trucks are around, and you can just sit at Snyder Park, listen to music, and bring your dog, and just kind of sit out in the park and have a few hours of a peaceful setting out at Snyder Park. We also, for youth, we have, of course, our athletics, but we offer summer camps throughout the summer. Those are currently taking place. A full list is in that activity guide too. There are some spots still open in a few of the camps. If anybody is still looking to get their kids involved in some stuff, we offer a free Passport to Fishing program, which is an educational fishing program, which happens on July 9th. We have a cool Nerf Wars program, which is coming up, which is in a fenced-in area at Snyder. We're having a whole bunch of kids bring down their Nerf guns and have a big Nerf battle that we'll supervise and help set up, and it'll be a fun competition.
Okay, so
And for those kids that aren't ready to get out, oh, go ahead, Nettie.
I just got to say something. Why is it just for kids? I mean,
Well, that's a good point.
Some of us that might want to participate in that. That sounds really fun.
Well, we didn't even think about that. So if you have Nerf guns and we can get a group together, we'll make that happen. Okay. So if you have a list of adults that have Nerf guns still, give me their names and we'll organize that event next.
I'm sure we can get them. It's pretty easy. I'll have my people contact your people. How about that?
That sounds good. And then for any youth that aren't ready to leave the house yet, we have signed up with the National Recreation Parks Association. They have a esports league that is that has different and I'm not well versed in this stuff, but it's for all the Xbox and PlayStation and other different consoles that will compete live in different competitions and other gaming networks across the country, and we're holding different teams and competitions. So that's a free program that we're competing across the country with. So that information's also in the guide. And then of course the programs that we offer this summer for everyone. We have a do your own program, which is a clue mystery game, is who stole the flowers from the Snyder Park Gardens and Arboretum. And if you email us, we'll give you a clue book, and you have to use the clues that are in the park and try to figure out who took those flowers and see if you can solve the case. And then we'll draw prizes for a lucky winner if at the end of the summer who wins and solves that crime. And then also we have a comedy magic show that happens at Snyder Park. That's on August 18th. And then we have the county fireworks, which have moved from the fairgrounds now to downtown. And they will be shot off from the banks of Buck Creek on July 3rd. But everybody now should be able to see them. There's a map in the book that kind of describes areas that you can visibly see them, but the fireworks should be seen from most of the areas in the downtown portion. If you're looking towards Buck Creek and Ferncliff area and get to a higher portion of the city looking towards Snyder Park, you should be able to see the fireworks visibly. But all that information's in the guide. Other resources, our website, which I'll put in the chat. We have bike maps, which provide detailed information on the trails, so you can easily use the system. And our Facebook page provides regular information and updates about programming and events that we have on a regular basis. So I know I went a lot too long, so I'll shut up.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Yes.
I'm going to mention something else. The Kiwanis Children's Garden, which is down in Snyder Park, July 10th and 11th from 1 to 5. There's going to be Kiwanis folks down there, obviously open to the community. It's part of the Women's Association of the Springfield Symphony Orchestra is having a garden tour, but the Kiwanis part of it is free to everybody to come in 1 to 5, and it's Snyder Park. And, we welcome anybody who hasn't been to that children's garden. Please come and visit.
Yeah, great. I will tell you, we are so fortunate with so many good resources, just community resources, but just natural resources, our nature, our trails. And I mean, it's a blessing. There's so many things for us to do to get out, whether we want to be in large crowds or not. We can take hikes. Obviously, we can participate in lots of different activities, whether it's in Champaign County or Clark County. But I guess I want to just ask the group, we all have relatives, maybe friends that come back to Springfield to visit. What is one place that you would suggest that they go and visit? And I'm just opening that up to everyone.
Well, actually, so I was just thinking about this.
That's because we're on the same page, Cameron.
I like it. I like it. Well, when you said Nerf guns, I was actually thinking I do have one at home, so I will be there if you're there. Yep. So 2 things that I forgot to mention too that I was thinking are free is that are very cool, and they're in neighborhoods. So I know sometimes they can get, I can forget to go visit them, but the Gammon House and Hartman Rock Garden. So when you said going south, I was actually thinking south end of Springfield. And those are two places that are very, very cool to visit. They are free. I mean, always recommend donation if you can. But those are, you know, I've biked to Hartman, and it is very easy to get there from the bike trail, I think. And then you could also bike to the Gammon House. But those are two things that, since they are a little bit offset into neighborhoods, you know, sometimes it's easy to get overlooked versus things that are right downtown. But those are very cool and free things.
That's a great point. And actually, Juneteenth is going to be celebrated next Saturday, and there will be an event there next Saturday. And I think they start around 10 or 11. Joan,
At Gammon House, right?
At Gammon House, yes. Yes.
Yeah, Nettie, the Juneteenth will start, I think, with a run at about 8 a.m. and then it will be open with exhibitors and resources starting at 10. And I believe it goes till 2.
Yes, perfect. Again, like I said, resource rich, resource rich, resource rich. Lots of things to do in Clark County. Okay, so I'm going to transition, and thank you for answering that, Cameron. I know I opened it up to the group, but we have a new visitor in town, and this visitor comes once every 17 years, and it's the cicadas. So I don't know how people are feeling about that. I'm not sure if people feel like, oh my goodness, my best friend, we were driving and there was one that hit the car. It was like, bam, right? You know, it splat. So how are we addressing that? How are we doing that? And I'll open it up to the panel, but then I'll ask Larry at the end, is it safe? Is there some concerns with cicadas? Should we be worried about that? But if anyone wants to share a cicada story, that's fine. Ashley is looking like she wants to share. So I'll go to her.
So in my house, we've been like, well, my house back in Ohio, I'm in Florida now, right now. But we have Cicada Central, and I'm up on a hill, and I'm not sure if that's why, but yeah, tons and tons of cicadas, and they're not dangerous. They don't bite, they don't hurt you, but they're really creepy bugs, like super creepy. And my dog hunts the crap out of them. And he, I mean, one day ate probably close to 20, and they're not really poisonous to dogs. They're not dangerous, but when they eat too many, they're gonna throw them up. So it's kind of one of the things you want to watch. Dogs, pets especially, will eat them. And luckily they're not poisonous, but yeah, if they eat too many, they can get sick. So you got to watch your pets with them. But yeah, they're creepy bugs.
My next door neighbor just posted on Facebook a little recipe for baking a little boatload of cicadas, which he ate.
Yep.
They're good. They're good protein, 250
Not
degrees.
poisonous, but
250 degrees for an hour and a half, he said. And he said after he got over trying the first one, 10 of them went down pretty quick.
Oh,
I will keep watermelon as my favorite summertime treat.
right, right.
I'm
Paul,
going to lower the nutritional value of the cicadas by reminding people that chocolate covered cicadas are actually fairly tasty as long as you don't get the wings stuck between your teeth.
Well, I can say that my girls, I have one that is 6 and one that is 7, and they are really, really enjoying learning about the cicadas. They have tons of them around their school, and they are not afraid of them. They pick them up. One tried to put one in the car with their dad yesterday, and he wasn't having it. So it's a great opportunity to build those memories with them now, being that they won't be back for 17 years, and it'll give them an opportunity to share those memories later.
good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, and if anybody wants additional information and wants a deep dive, and not to bring up that activity guide again, but we have a 2-page spread about from an Ohio State professor that talks about all the details and the nitty gritty about them and the reasons of everything that they do.
Maybe that was the wrong question because people are talking about eating them and it's giving me the willies. I don't, that's just, yeah. Larry, any final thought? I know they're not here very long. What is it, 6 weeks maybe, or?
Yeah, they should be gone here about the first part of July. They should be disappearing.
Okay.
And the panelists already mentioned that they are not harmful, but they are a nuisance. I'm very fortunate in my house. I don't have any. I don't know why, but I don't have any. but I've seen areas where you just can't escape from. So
Yeah, unfortunate too. Okay. Well, let's segue, and I want to just encourage the audience to please ask questions. We may have a question in the chat, but let's move to our second poll question. Have we experienced any of the following? Yes, 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 and yes for me. What is your favorite exercise in the summer? So we will give people an opportunity.
What? You only can pick one?
I'm sorry?
I said you can only pick one?
Yeah. And the comment in the chat was that the person indicated that they don't have any cicadas at their house right now. Lucky for them. Okay, so the results looks like 85% of us have experienced a sunburn. And the favorite exercise looks like a tie? No, walking and hiking, which is great. So Larry, let me just ask a question. We're going to see a video here in like 30 seconds as soon as you finish this answering this question. But what would you say to people about poison ivy? I think I'm allergic to it. I look at it and I get it. I don't even have to touch it and I get it. So
right, because the toxins can become airborne, but it's very important that you teach your children what it looks like. I think often that kids aren't taught what things look like, and so it's very important because kids, they go out and they play, and they're kids, and so they don't often think about these things. But I think it's very important to teach kids what it looks like so they can avoid it. So.
Okay, great. Well, I think we have a video right now from Pam Bennett with Snyder Park, and she's going to share a few things for us. She met with Joan, I believe, a couple weeks ago. So once we get that queued up, here we go.
Yes.
Hi, Pam.
Hi, Joan. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to see you
Good
today.
to see you as always.
Great. Hey, I'm here with Pam Bennett, and Pam is an associate professor of Ohio State University who works here in Clark County, and she's going to tell us a little bit about gardening today. So it's good to see you, and I'm wondering, how long have you been a gardener?
Well, not all my life, as many horticulturists would say, but when I was at college, my freshman year, my mom got me a job during the summer because, for some reason, you got to work. And I started working at Downing's Garden Center, and I just fell in love with horticulture. And transferred to Ohio State, got a degree in landscape horticulture, came back and worked at Downing's, which then was bought out by Tom and Jerry's, and have loved doing everything horticulture since then.
That's wonderful. So tell us a little bit about this space where we're sitting right now.
Okay, I'd love to. We are sitting in Snyder Park Gardens and Arboretum, and this was the former Snyder Park Golf Course that had to be repurposed because of the need to close it down because of financial constraints. And it is a partnership between National Trails Parks and Recreation District, Master Gardens of Clark County, Ohio State University Extension, and the Kiwanis and Helena Botanic Gardens. And all of us have a different role in the gardens. Like Kiwanis, for instance, have the children's garden. We have a 10,000 square foot Victory Garden where we raise produce for the Second Harvest Food Bank. Last year, I think we donated around 7,500 pounds.
That's wonderful.
It's all fresh vegetables. It was great. We are setting in one of my favorites, the Garden of Eaton, which is one that is a vegetable demonstration garden to teach people, here's how you can grow all the different vegetables in your own garden. Behind us, we have the Early Ohio Settlers Garden, which is plants all that would have been found when Ohio was being settled. Right outside the back door, it has an outhouse with, all the plants that were necessary for the outhouse. We have a turf research plot. We have a perennial display, and we have our cultivar trials. That is my research that I conduct with Ohio State. We just finished last year the Wingert Tossie Pavilion. And between the pavilion and the clubhouse this summer, we're going to be planting the Springfield Foundation Feature Garden. And this is going to be a really just a beautiful high impact garden. We're so excited
Okay.
about that.
That's great. It's such a nice place for people to come visit.
Oh,
There's
it's
plenty of room to run
great.
around and just view the beautiful plants. So this is a health related session here for us, the Break for Health. So tell me a little bit about the connections between gardening and health.
So for the last 7 years, 6-7 years of my career, I have been focusing on that whole component of the health benefits of gardening. You know, we know there's environmental benefits, we know there's economic benefits, but the health benefits are just now, we're starting to see a lot of research going into those.
Okay.
And, you know, just the act of eating fresh vegetables. You know, you go to the store in the winter, you get one of those tomatoes and people don't, you know, it tastes like cardboard, but that's because they're bred for shipping and longevity, or we wouldn't have vegetables in the winter.
Right.
So in the summer, when you get that first fresh vegetable, you know, the flavor, the taste, the nutrients are there. It just, it's just so much better for you. In addition, the physical act of gardening. You know, we just finished preparing for our plantings for tomorrow, and I'm a little tired, I'll admit, a little dirty, but you know, just that physical exercise keeps people going.
Yeah.
And then just the mental health benefits of being outside. You know, our goal is to have all of these gardens connected with sidewalks, so people, we want people to come down, exercise, you know, walk in the garden, enjoy just being outside in nature, hear the sounds, the birds, you know, we'll have a butterfly garden, pollinators. There's just so much that helps in terms of stress relief, relaxing, and then, like I said, that physical part of walking through and being outside.
I think for myself, the act of being able to touch some of the plants, that sensory, and then the smells also adds to all of that.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to show you something that I'm going to leave here at the gardens. When I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, a young lady gave me this cute little painted rock, looks like a goose, and this rock is meant to be placed somewhere for someone else to find. So this may or may not end up in the children's garden here. And if somebody finds it, there's a place on Facebook where they can post that they found this rock, and then that person is to take it and hide it somewhere else.
How fun.
For someone else to find.
How fun. That sounds fun.
Yeah. So another reason for people to come here to Snyder Park Gardens. Bring your children, bring your families. It's just a beautiful place to visit.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for your time.
My
Pam.
pleasure. My pleasure,
You're
Joan.
welcome.
What a great video. And it just shows another resource that we have in our community that we can look to and go and visit and learn and be outside and just have a great time. So I really like to kind of shift the conversation and talk to Ashley and Adrielle about community gardens. Ashley, can you talk a little bit about just what you're doing and your passion with the gardens?
Sure. I love gardening. It has become a new love for me. It's really recent. I've found out I have celiac, and I had to start watching what I eat very, very, very closely. And finding hidden gluten in everything was really crazy. So I found the best way is just start from scratch, and that's how I have to cook, is just break everything down to the bare essentials. And even going to like fast food restaurants, you think you're eating the good, healthy options, you order a salad. Little do you know, they put sugar water on their lettuce to make it taste better. Like, there's extra things that are being added there that you don't get from your own produce. And growing your own produce, yeah, you just know everything that's going into it. You know what you're getting. One thing being down here, I've got to talk to another community gardener. They have one here in Dunellen, and got some great recipes for organic pesticides, so we can keep everything in our garden. I'm over at Springfield Vision Gardens, and we keep everything wholly organic. Pests do become a problem when you're dealing with organic, as always, but yeah, I found some really great recipes. And then just growing at the end of the season, you come up with so much extra food, the money that you put into it. Some people are like, oh, you put so much money into gardening. $2 pack of seeds is like so much food. It comes into so much food. And at Springfield Vision Gardens, we provide the seeds, we provide the supplies for everybody. you come in, you've got the land, you've got the supplies. All you got to do is be able to work it. And I've got teenagers that come and help. So even then, if you can't get down and pull those weeds, I've got 13-year-old and a 15-year-old, they're willing to do it. So it's a lot of fun.
That's great. So if I wanted to get involved, what I do? Just contact or?
Well, we're Springfield Vision Gardens, and we're located over on Linden Avenue, and we have a intern that's there Monday through Friday, except for Thursday's his day off. And I'll be back in Springfield on Friday, and I'm usually there in the mornings between 8 and 12. So drop on in. I always encourage anybody, just stop by, look at what we've got, because there's tons. Dogs are going crazy, sorry. I think we got a delivery coming. But yeah, stop by anytime between 10 and 2, Monday through Friday, you'll find me there. I don't know the phone number right offhand, but I'm sure I can put it into our chat once I find it. And you can call and talk to somebody. And we do charge a $15 fee for a plot, but most people can get it waived if you're willing to come in and help out with some of the other chores. If you're willing to pull some weeds in our community garden that we just leave open for people to come and collect food as they need it, then you can use our land for free. You know, it's just about helping each other and learning from one another. We have a lot of really expert people. There's a guy there, Fred. Oh my gosh. He is a wealth of knowledge. He's just this grumpy old man. I love him to death. He's grumpy as can be, but he knows everything. Everything. It's amazing the things he knows. So yeah, any questions, he knows them.
That's great. And so it is a community garden. So how many plots do you have? How many people in the community are actually working with that garden?
Oh, I think there's about 15 of us right now.
Okay.
So we still have, we have space for another 12 plots. So if more people come, the more space we can till. We have the space to put it, and we have the tiller to till it. So if anybody wants to do it, we can fit them in.
Okay, great.
We will make room.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Adrielle, you want to share a little bit about your garden and your process, what you're doing?
Yes, health and gardening do kind of go hand in hand, and it became a little bit more personal for me. I too, sometimes your life and your medical history makes you a little more conscious about what you put in your body. So I'm a 9-year breast cancer survivor, and I just really use that to kind of build my platform and start watching what I'm putting in my body. Growing in the garden, this is my 6th growing season. I'm at Jefferson Street Oasis Garden. My kids have been in the garden, kind of been raised in there, from eating their breakfast in the garden or putting out a blanket for a nap. It's just a good change. But it definitely is a different taste with the amount of nutrients, and then also growing different things than what you would normally find in the grocery store. So like one thing for my kids, they really like something called husk cherries or ground cherries. It's something that is a form of tomatillo, and it's really small, but my kids prefer them over blueberries sometimes in the summer.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, it's a very small tomatillo, which is in the tomato family, but it's so sweet. It gives a healthier option versus candy or chips, and they don't get it in the winter time. So it's more of a treat to get it in the summer. So that is, one of the things I've implemented my family. But Jefferson Street Oasis commute from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sometimes we're there a little bit later, and we normally will work through the week on either a Wednesday or a Thursday. So we're always there to help. Plots are free. This year we actually have 89 plots. And I think we do have a few that are still available, or some that can kind of be adopted that were pre-started. And, sometimes life gets busy, and, someone may grow a little bit more than they thought, or thought they had time for a garden, and, taken on additional tasks. So we do have some plots still available.
So you both talked about the types of foods and you said that they taste different. So if do green beans
Oh,
taste?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, green beans is a big one. Oh, fresh green beans.
Yeah.
So I mean, so much better.
And green beans are one of those things that you can tell the kids, hey, can you pick green? There's always green beans that need picked,
Okay.
like every day.
Okay. Okay. Are there staple vegetables that you normally put in gardens?
I have made mistakes. My first year gardening, I was like, I'm going to grow all kinds of crazy, weird things. And I grew so much crap and I went to waste. It was a horrible year. I did a horrible first garden, but I learned really quick, grow what you eat. If you don't like it, if you don't like it, don't grow it. Tomatoes are always a good, anything that you can or jar is always a plus. But yeah, don't grow anything you don't like. It's fun to play and experiment. If you want to just like get a packet of seeds and like try and grow a plant, that's one thing. But don't make your whole garden a bunch of, experiments. You want to grow what you can use.
I agree. And I also try to ask my family or people in my neighborhood. I like to share my produce with a lot of the elders in my neighborhood who now can't tend a garden themselves. So I'll just kind of ask like, hey, I'm going to start my garden. Is there anything that you would like me to grow for you or anything that you really miss growing yourself? And then I'll add those items to what I put in my garden.
Okay. There was a question in the chat. What was the name of that vegetable or fruit? See, now you got this, the buzz. I needed to hear more about it too.
It's called a husk cherry.
Husk cherry.
Yeah, that's what it's called in the garden. I've also heard it called a ground cherry.
Mm-hmm. That's what I've heard it called, is ground cherry.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your garden.
I just planted some right along the front of my garden, the walkway, so that if people see them on the path, they can just kind of pick them and just to share it with everybody within the garden.
Nice. There's another question. Do any of the gardens have chickens?
We have chickens. We actually have I'm not sure the number, but I want to say we have slightly over 100 chickens. This will be our third season with chickens also. We had a class to learn about how to care for the chickens a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, we have a lot of benefits, and even we use it as fertilizer for our garden at the end of the season.
So as we move into, we're obviously talking about, lots of fruits and vegetables and cooking. Larry, can I ask, how can we keep our food safe if we're at a picnic or we're at a cookout? How do we?
Well, that's a very good question. In the summertime, we often think about eating outdoors, and we're away from refrigeration or we're away from appliances where we keep our food hot. So it's important that everybody have a food thermometer. It's a great tool. But when we go out for picnics and things, get the food out of cold storage, get the food out of hot storage. Go ahead and consume it, and then try to get it put away. And then the other thing is, we are now in the middle of graduation season, right? There's lots of graduation parties. And we have seen at the health district in the past problems with people trying to cook large quantities of foods for graduation parties, and they don't have adequate storage. So they'll cook lots of taco meat or lots of potato salad, and they don't have ways to hold this food safely. So you want to plan ahead and plan your preparation of your foods, plan how you're going to store the stuff, because most of us only have a single refrigerator at home, and if we pack that refrigerator full with a lot of hot food, well, that food's not going to cool very quickly, and it can actually sit there overnight and stay warm. And then that's where we run into problems with things like Clostridium perfringens and stuff that love unsafe temperatures. So The extension office, the Ohio State University Extension Office, we had Pam on a little bit ago. They've got a lot of great information for home food safety. And I always get people over to the Extension office, to their website and to the office for handouts and tips.
Okay.
And then at Jefferson Street Oasis Community Garden, we do have grilling in the garden on July the 31st. And that is going to be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we will have a lot of the fresh grown produce from our garden just open to the public for people to kind of experience and taste, the difference in it. We find different recipes and offer it different ways, but just to kind of show off the garden and have people come in. And it's just a good event to kind of walk around and kind of see a hidden gem within the neighborhood.
Adriel, do you have eggs for sale at the garden?
So we do have some eggs that are for sale at the garden. Miss Cheryl is actually over the chickens and the eggs at the garden. But we do have so many dozen that go to gardeners each week. We have a kind of a rotating list, and then we do have some that she also sells.
Okay. And that's at Saturday mornings?
Yes, Saturday mornings. And we're normally there from 8 to 2. And then, like I said, we are there some either a Wednesday or Thursday through the week.
Okay.
I understand I'm the moderator, but every single time that I moderate, I learn something different, and I'm so excited. The grilling in the garden, I cannot wait. I'm getting some tips. Now my belly is full, right? I try to keep myself together. So Claudia and Basil, please take me away. Let me see some of these. Please let us know about these bike paths. Tell me what I need to do so that I can keep it moving.
Okay, first of all, Alex, can you show one of the slides, please? Okay, we have a variety of resources, and those resources for the bike trails are really important. You can find those at the YMCA, bike shops around town, the cyclotherapy, bike revival on Snow Hill Boulevard, the bike stop across from Myers, the bike trail kiosks along the trail, Young's Dairy in the Little Barn, and Champion City Guide and Supply near La Torta Dolce Bakery. They all have those maps. And the one that's on the far right, the little one, it's Bike Greater Springfield. It's our official trail map. So that would be the easiest one to start with if you're kind of new to biking, and find one of the trails, find your home on the map and figure out, where it might be the best place for you to start close to home. Because we have wonderful trails, Little Miami Scenic, Simon Kenton Trail, Buck Creek Trail. Our area in Ohio is just, it's a plethora of trails, and it's just so wonderful to be able to ride on these trails.
And I want to just mention, I've been kind of a long distance biker for a lot of years, and we are sitting on 350 miles. Now, I just want that to sink in. 350 miles of contiguous bike paths that we can ride. So here on South Fountain, I'm about 8 blocks from the bike path. And once I get on that path, I can ride all the way to Cincinnati. I can ride to Columbus, and then most of the way to Cleveland, all on a bike path, never having to get off on the highways, just but a little bit, like in downtown London, I have to get off for a little bit. So it's really a wonderful thing. And I'm going to mention, when, if you're just new to getting to bikes, I want you to be careful when you get your bike out, and I want you to think about A, B, C. So our kind of thing to do when we look at a bike is to first think about A, for air. Feel the wheels, the tires. Do they have air in them? If they don't, well, I got to pump up those tires. And maybe if they've been sitting for a while, you might have to get a new tube, or you might have to patch a tube, but you need to have proper air in your tires before you start. And the B stands for brakes. So run the tire a little bit each direction and make sure your brakes work before you ever get on that bike, because that's a bad, once you're on it and you're riding, that's a bad time to find out you don't have brakes. So check the brakes. And then C means chain. So look down there at the chain, turn the pedal a little bit, see that it works. If you can get somebody to hold up the back end and you've got a multi-gear bike, you might switch the gears a little bit, make sure those are all working. If all three of those things are going, you're probably in pretty good shape to get out on your bike. And then once you get on the bike, you need to kind of listen and make sure that things are running. If you hear something grinding or some sort of a ticking noise, you need to investigate a little bit. It's probably not something that's going to bother you, but eventually it will become bigger. It never gets smaller. So you need to find that little tick and see if you can adjust something to make it so that it works better.
Perfect. We've got the ABCs of bikes. We've got gardening. We've got nature. We've got all types of activities and things for us to do. We've got shoes. We've got helmets. Actually, Juneteenth, they're going to be giving helmets away. We're putting all kinds of links into the chat so that you'll have them. You know, I'm talking fast because our time is about up. We always say, man, we could talk for this all afternoon, but we just want to make sure we give you just enough so that you can scratch the surface and get more information for yourself. Let's pull that last poll question up. And I already know the answer to this for me. I'm ready to try something new. Joe, I'm going to pass it to you.
That I would be surprised if anybody answers no to that last poll question. I really do want all of you to, everybody who's on this session, to see our list of panelists and their contact information. This session, as you know, is being recorded. So you can go to the Community Health Foundation website, pull this up. So don't worry about writing things down right now. So I encourage you to reach out to any of today's panelists if you would like more information or have questions that come to you after today's session. Go ahead to the next slide, because I also want you to know that community resources that were shared today will also be at Community Health Foundation's website, as well as you can find our online resource guide there. And as always, 211, which is run by United Way, is another great place for resources if you have health and wellness concerns. And then finally, I just want to thank everybody. It sounds like we're being played off, but thank you so much for joining us today. We do have another session scheduled September 15th. At a new time, 4 p.m., because we want to engage with young people and their families and teachers to talk about going back to school and how we're going to handle that this year and changes that might have happened over the year of dealing with the pandemic. So you will receive a link to a survey following this event. In fact, it's right there in the chat. If you can click on that now, or you'll get an email directly to your inbox. We appreciate you taking the time to fill out that survey. Gives us great feedback and ideas for future sessions. So again, thanks everybody for spending your lunch hour with us. Thank you to our panelists, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Thank you.